Today I invite you to experience a profound shift in your perception of who you truly are. Imagine just for a moment that your true self, your essence, is much deeper than you've ever allowed yourself to realize. It's not in your thoughts, your labels, or your titles. It is not found in your past or what you hope to achieve in the future. It is found in the present moment. So often we find ourselves tangled in the web of our mind, running on autopilot, chasing distractions, and believing that happiness, success, or peace lies somewhere ahead, just beyond our reach. But here's the truth: everything you need to realize your deepest potential is already within you right now. The present moment holds the key to unlocking the vastness of your being. What does it mean to realize your depth? It means recognizing that beneath your thoughts, beneath the stories you tell yourself, there is an unshakable presence and awareness that is always with you, always available. It's a quiet stillness that is not shaken by the noise of the world. It's the part of you that sees everything yet remains untouched by it. And the more you tune into this space, the more you begin to experience your true power. You see, we've been conditioned to identify ourselves with our thoughts, our identities, and the roles we play. We define ourselves by what we've done, by what we're capable of, or by the opinions others have of us. But all of these things are temporary. They come and go. Who you truly are is eternal. It is beyond the limitations of your mind, your ego, and your fears. When you stop trying to control, when you stop identifying with the noise inside your head, you will begin to feel a deeper connection to life. You will tap into the wisdom of the universe itself, a wisdom that knows no bounds. Let go of the need to constantly chase and strive. Instead, sit in the silence. Feel the presence that is always here. In that space, you will realize something profound. You are not just your body. You are not just your thoughts. You are an infinite being experiencing life through this temporary human form. When you realize this, you tap into a depth of potential that the world cannot even begin to comprehend. And here's where the transformation happens. The more you become aware of this depth, the more you begin to transcend the ego, the false identity that keeps you small. The ego thrives on separation, on fear, on limiting beliefs. But when you realize your depth, the ego starts to dissolve. You move beyond the need for validation, beyond the desire to prove yourself. You realize that you are enough just as you are. You stop measuring your worth by external circumstances, and you start to live from a place of pure being. In this space, you don't need to do to be, you simply are. And in your being, you begin to create. You begin to express your highest potential, not from a place of force, but from a place of alignment with the universe. So let go of the chase, let go of the need to control every outcome. Realize that everything you are searching for is already within you. You are not separate from the depth of life itself, you are it. Embrace the silence, embrace the stillness, and allow your true self to unfold. When you do, you will experience a life filled with peace, abundance, and limitless possibility. Because you are far more than you've ever imagined. Realizing your depth begins with an understanding that the present moment is the gateway to your fullest potential. You might be used to thinking of life as a series of events or achievements that define who you are, but what if I told you that who you truly are is not found in the past nor in the future, but right here, right now? Most of us live in a constant state of distraction. We're often preoccupied with thoughts of what we've done, what we should be doing, or what might happen next. Our minds race from one thought to another, trying to solve problems, seeking validation, or worrying about what is yet to come. But in doing so, we miss the most profound truth of all. The present moment is the only moment where life truly exists. Imagine for a moment that you could stop the constant mental chatter, stop the endless striving, and just be with yourself in this moment. In that stillness, you would begin to realize that everything you are searching for is already within you. All of your power, all of your potential, and all of your peace exist in the now. You are not the person you were yesterday. nor are you the person you will become tomorrow. You are the person who is fully alive in this moment. The power of presence is transformative. When you are truly present, when your awareness is focused entirely on the here and now, you connect with a deeper part of yourself, a part that transcends your thoughts, your emotions, and even your physical body. This deeper part of you is your true self, your essence. It is not bound by time nor limited by external circumstances. It simply is. By practicing presence, you shift your awareness from the surface level of your thoughts to the deeper realm of pure consciousness. You stop identifying with the ego, with the stories that the mind creates, and begin to experience life as it truly is, an unfolding miracle that is happening in this very moment. You are no longer caught in the rush of life, but instead you become an observer, a witness to the present moment. And in doing so, you align with a profound sense of peace, a peace that is independent of any external condition. When you allow yourself to be fully present, you step into a flow state where time seems to expand and everything around you feels effortlessly aligned. There's no longer a need to force or control your experiences. You start to realize that life isn't something that happens to you, it's something you're co-creating in every moment. The more present you become, the more you tap into the infinite possibilities that the present holds. You realize that you are not separate from the universe, you are one with it, and in that oneness you access a power far beyond what the mind can comprehend. The power of presence also allows you to see beyond the ego's limitations. The ego is constantly seeking validation, constantly striving to prove its worth. It is never satisfied, always yearning for more. But when you are present, you move beyond the ego's endless desire for approval. You understand that your worth is not dependent on external achievements or recognition. You are already whole, complete, and enough. This realization brings a sense of freedom from the constant pressure of the mind, freedom from the need to perform or achieve. You no longer feel the need to rush through life, constantly chasing after some future goal or outcome. Instead, you find contentment and peace in the now, and it's in this space of presence that you begin to experience your true depth, a depth that was always there, but that you were too distracted to notice. When you embrace the power of presence, you begin to change the way you experience reality. You start to notice the beauty that exists in every moment, in every breath. You start to feel a deep connection to everything around you, the people, the nature, the energy of life itself. And as you realize your depth, you become more aligned with your true self, a self that is beyond time, beyond thought, and beyond limitation. So I urge you to stop chasing, stop striving, and just be. Be present in the moment, and in that presence you will discover the infinite power that resides within you. The present moment is not just a place in time, it is the key to your deepest self. It is the doorway to a life of peace, abundance, and limitless possibility, and it is always available to you right here, right now. There is a part of you that has always been there, quietly waiting for your attention. It's not the voice of your thoughts, not the constant mental chatter that fills your day. It's something much deeper, a silent knowing that exists beneath the surface of your mind. This knowing is not loud or demanding. It doesn't require your effort or attention to exist. It simply is. And it's always been there, guiding you, connecting you to the essence of life itself. To awaken to this silent knowing is to reconnect with a part of yourself that transcends thought, emotion, and even the sense of self you identify with. This silent knowing is your true essence. It is a state of pure awareness beyond the conditioned mind. It is the realm where all answers are found, not because you think them, but because you feel them. It is the truth of who you are, unfiltered and untouched by the noise of the world. We often spend our lives searching for answers in the external world. We seek validation, we look for guidance from others, and we chase after knowledge in the hopes that it will bring us peace. But the truth is, the deepest answers lie not outside of us, but within us. They are found in the space between thoughts, in the stillness that exists beyond the mind. This silent knowing is always present. It is not something you need to earn or search for. It's already inside of you. The more you tune into this silent knowing, the more you begin to understand that it doesn't come from the intellect. It comes from a place of pure being. The mind can only analyze, judge, and compare. But this deeper knowing transcends all of that. It is a wisdom that can't be rationalized or put into words. It can only be felt, experienced in the quiet moments when you are no longer caught up in the noise of your thoughts. Awakening to this silent knowing requires you to become aware of the space between your thoughts. It's a space that is always there, a gap in the flow of your mental chatter where you can just be. When you allow yourself to rest in this space, you begin to feel a sense of peace and connection that is unlike anything the mind can offer. It is a knowing that doesn't come from a place of doing, but from simply allowing yourself to be present with what is. In the silence, there are no judgments, no expectations, no need to prove anything. There is only the experience of being alive in this moment right now. This silent knowing is the language of the soul. It is a deep, intuitive understanding that is beyond the grasp of the logical mind. And when you connect with it, you begin to realize that it holds the answers to all of life's questions. It is not a knowledge that can be taught or learned, it is something you remember. It's a return to the truth of who you've always been. You don't need to go searching for this silent knowing, it's already there within you. The challenge lies in quieting the noise of your mind long enough to hear it. The more you allow yourself to be present, to step out of the mental noise and into the moment, the more this silent knowing will reveal itself to you. It's a process of remembering, of rediscovering the part of you that has always been in tune with the wisdom of the universe. This silent knowing is not something that you can force. It can't be achieved through effort or striving. It arises naturally when you stop trying to control, when you release your need to figure things out. The moment you let go of the need for answers and simply allow yourself to be present, this deeper wisdom begins to surface. It's like a quiet voice that guides you, not with words, but with a sense of clarity and direction that you feel deep within your being. As you awaken to this silent knowing, you begin to experience a deeper sense of peace and trust. You realize that you don't need to have everything figured out. Life is not something to control or manipulate, it is something to be experienced, something to be felt. When you are in tune with this silent knowing, you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There is no need to force, no need to push. You simply allow life to flow, trusting that the answers will come in their own time, in their own way. This silent knowing is the key to your true self. It is the part of you that is always connected to the source of life, always aware of the infinite possibilities that exist in every moment. It is a part of you that is beyond time, beyond thought, and beyond limitation. When you awaken to it, you begin to live a life that is in harmony with your true essence. You stop chasing external validation, stop seeking answers outside of yourself, and instead you begin to live from a place of deep knowing. And in that knowing you find peace, freedom, and a limitless sense of possibility. So listen to the silence within. Trust in the knowing that arises from deep within your being. It is always there guiding you, and all you need to do is awaken to it. When you do, you will discover depth of wisdom and peace that has always been there waiting for you to realize it. And in that realization you step into a life of greater clarity, greater joy and greater fulfillment than you ever thought possible. The ego is a powerful force within us, a part of the mind that shapes how we see the world and, more importantly, how we see ourselves. It gives us our sense of identity, the story we tell ourselves about who we are. But the ego, in all its complexity, is not the truth of who you are. It is simply a construct, a collection of beliefs, fears, and experiences that are not the essence of your being. And the journey to realizing your depth begins with transcending this illusion of the ego. From the moment you are born, the ego begins to form. It takes shape through the labels you adopt, the roles you play, and the experiences you accumulate. It thrives on comparisons, judgment, and the need to prove itself. The ego tells you that you are separate from the world, that you are defined by what you do, by how others see you, and by the accomplishments you achieve. It constantly seeks validation and affirmation. And when these things are not present, it feels lost, threatened, or inadequate. But what if I told you that all of this, everything the ego identifies with, a false representation of your true self? What if the sense of self you've spent your entire life cultivating is not really who you are? This is the realization that begins to dissolve the ego's grip on you. The truth is, you are not defined by your achievements, your possessions, or your status. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your past experiences. You are much more than this. The first step in transcending the ego is recognizing that it is not who you truly are. The ego is a tool of the mind, a survival mechanism that helps you navigate the world and protect yourself. But it is limited. The ego confines you to a narrow perspective, one that is based on fear, judgment, and separation. When you identify with the ego, you see the world as a place of duality, good and bad, right and wrong, us and them. The ego thrives in this division, creating conflict and suffering. To transcend the ego, you must begin to disidentify from it. You are not the thoughts that arise in your mind. You are not the voice inside your head that constantly judges and criticizes. You are the awareness that is aware of those thoughts. The moment you begin to observe your thoughts without attachment, without judgment, you begin to break free from the grip of the ego. The ego can only exist when you identify with it, when you believe the story it tells you about yourself. But the moment you stop identifying with it, the ego loses its power. This is not an easy process. The ego will resist. It will create fear, doubt, and resistance because it doesn't want to lose control. But the truth is, the more you let go of the ego, the more you begin to experience a deeper sense of freedom. You start to realize that you are not bound by the limitations of the mind. You are not confined to the narrow stories the ego tells you. You are an infinite being capable of experiencing life without the constant need to prove your worth or to defend your identity. As you begin to transcend the ego, you step into a space of pure presence. In this space, there is no longer the constant noise of self-judgment or comparison. There is no longer the need to compete or to measure yourself against others. You begin to experience life as it truly is, an unfolding of possibilities, free from the constraints of the mind. You realize that you are connected to everything, that there is no separation between you and the world around you. The ego is always seeking validation, always looking for external sources of approval to feel worthy. But when you transcend the ego, you stop seeking approval from the outside world. You no longer need to prove yourself because you realize that you are enough just as you are. You are not defined by the roles you play, the titles you hold, or the successes you achieve. You are pure being, an expression of the universe itself. In this space of transcending the ego, you begin to experience life with greater ease and flow. You no longer need to control every outcome or plan every step. Instead, you trust that life will unfold as it should. You begin to make decisions from a place of inner knowing, not from a place of fear or insecurity. You move through life with a sense of calm, knowing that you are not attached to any specific outcome. You are free. This freedom comes from understanding that the ego is not the enemy, it is simply a part of your journey. The ego was created to serve a purpose, to help you navigate the physical world and protect you from harm. But when you become aware of it, when you see it for what it is, you no longer let it control you. You realize that your true power lies in the space beyond the ego, in the awareness that is always present, always accessible. As you transcend the ego, you begin to tap into a deeper sense of peace, a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. You begin to understand that life is not about striving to be someone or something, but about being who you truly are. When you let go of the need to define yourself, to prove yourself, you allow your true nature to shine through. You experience a sense of oneness with the world, a deep connection to everything around you. And in that connection you find your true power. Transcending the ego is not about rejecting it or fighting against it. It's about recognizing it for what it is and choosing to step beyond it. When you do, you enter a realm of infinite possibility, where the limitations of the mind no longer bind you. You realize that your true self is beyond thought, beyond ego, and in that realization you tap into the vastness of who you are. And in that space you become free. Free to live, free to love, free to experience life as it is meant to be experienced without the constraints of the ego. As we conclude today, remember that the journey of realizing your depth is not about reaching a distant goal or achieving a certain level of success. It is about awakening to the truth that has always been within you, just waiting for your attention. The power of presence, the silent knowing, and the transcendence of the ego are all keys to unlocking this truth. When you embrace the present moment, free from the distractions of the past or future, you tap into the infinite potential of who you truly are. In the silence, you reconnect with the wisdom of your soul, a deeper knowing that has always been guiding you. And when you transcend the ego, you step into the boundless freedom that exists beyond the limitations of thought, fear, and identity. You are not defined by your past, your experiences, or your achievements. You are not the roles you play or the labels you carry. You are the vast, infinite presence that lives within you beyond all the noise and distractions. And when you awaken to this truth, you begin to experience life from a place of profound peace, clarity, and limitless possibility. So let go of the need to strive, to control, or to prove yourself. Embrace the power of now. Surrender to the silent knowing within, and transcend the ego's illusions. In doing so, you will experience a life of deeper connection, greater fulfillment, and a sense of freedom that can only come from realizing the depth of your true self. Thank you.